Hello there techies, my name is Malay Vasada and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we will take a look at the overview of the console for the Power Automate desktop, or you can say the user interface for the Power Automate desktop. I have launched the Power Automate desktop which we installed in the previous video, and we are in the landing page or a landing screen. What you can see here is the new flow, which of course help you to start creating the new Power Automate desktop flow. You have the My Flows, so once you create the flow, they all will start appearing in the My Flows tab. If your colleague has shared the flow with you, where you can also contribute into that flow, it will be appearing here. And then you also have an example. So the Power Automate desktop has a built-in examples to play around with the Excel automation, web automation, desktop automation, and so on. So if you would like to get started directly with the template, directly with some actions, and then you would like to manipulate those actions, you can use the examples. For an instance, if you click on desktop automation, you have different flows, like the flow that can copy the files, the flow that can open a folder, flow that can find and delete the empty files. So you can use them, it'll get you started, and then you can go on from there. Similarly, there are some other examples as well. So if you find an interesting example, you can go ahead, use them, and then work on top of that. However, we will start everything from scratch. We'll go to home. Let's create a new flow. And for now, I'm just going to give it as console view. Okay. You also have an option to enable the PowerFX, which is the Power Platform's official language that helps you to write the Excel inspired formulas. For now, I'm just keeping it disabled and click on create. It will start loading the designer. Okay, so here we are. We have the designer open. Let's first start with the top, where you can see a different menu options. File helps you to save or save as a different name. And exit helps you just to close the current flow, and then you'll be back to the home landing screen. Edit helps you to work with undo. Redo, of course, cut, copy and paste the action. Select all. So when you have all the actions in a flow, it selects all the actions together. Clear selection. If you have selected action or multiple actions, by clicking clear selection, it will deselect all those actions. Invert selection helps you to select those actions which have not been selected, and then unselect those actions which have been selected. So it's the reverse. Then you have a debug window. So of course that helps you to run the flow, run the next action. This is like stepping through the different actions. You can use the keyboard shortcuts F5 and F10. You can pause the flow if you are debugging. If it's running, you can pause the flow there, and you can simply stop the flow execution. On the different actions, if you want to add the breakpoint, you can use F9 to add the breakpoint, and again F9 to remove the breakpoint. If you have multiple breakpoints, simply use this option to remove all the breakpoints. Under the tools, you have a recorder. Recorder helps you to record the actions that you take either on the desktop or on the web. And that is something which we will also take a look in the forthcoming examples. You can also inspect the UI elements. That helps you to grab the element context from a screen. And then you also have the browser extensions. We talked about this earlier. You have the Edge, Chrome and Firefox that helps you to work with the web automation. And then Power Automate Agent for the virtual desktop. This is a little advanced topic, and we will be covering that as well in the forthcoming videos. And then we have the DLP policies. Data loss prevention policies ensures that in the particular environment, certain connectors can be used and certain connectors cannot be used in the combination with the other connectors. It helps to safeguard the data within the business boundary. In the view section, you can find the errors that you have in your flow. You can find the results. You also have the Copilot, which is on the right. Then we will have a variables, so you can use the variables in the flow. We'll talk about that. Then UI elements, the elements that you're capturing from, let's say, the web application, it will start appearing in the UI elements. You can also have the images, and this is the default layout. And of course, you have the documentation, the Microsoft Learn documentation, and some community support, and so on and so forth. On the left hand side, you see a lot of actions, variables, conditions, loop, run a flow. You can see some diamond icon. This indicates that we need a premium license to work with the work queues, AI Builder, PDF, Outlook. There are a lot of actions there that helps with the automation. If you scroll all the way down, you see many premium connectors available that helps you to work with Dataverse, SharePoint, Excel Online, so on and so forth. And this is the area that you see on the center is the playground where the action happens. You drag and drop the actions on the center area, you configure the actions, and then get started. On the bottom, you see status ready. If you have any errors or the warnings, this will change to red. It will indicate all the errors and warnings. You can see selected actions. Of course, currently it's 0, but then if you select any actions that you have in the flow, it'll appear here. Actions, total actions. If you are having any subflows, it will show here. So the flow itself is also counted as subflow, as you can see. And there is a run delay, and you can see the time interval to wait between the actions when the flow runs in the debugging mode. If you want, you can simply change this to make it a little faster or slower depending on how you want to debug the flow. On the right hand side, you have a Copilot preview. Now, Copilot is your developers or the citizen developers companion. You can simply describe what you want, and the Copilot will try its best to mimic that into the actions and configure that action for you with what you have defined. Again, this is in preview feature. You can definitely go ahead and try that. However, we're going to be using the actions itself to learn the basics, and then we will build intermediate and pretty complex flows later on as well. This is the Copilot. So if you go here, you will see the variables. We'll talk about the variables in a separate video. You have the UI elements, and you have all the other images. Okay, and that is pretty much it. So I hope this simple video helped you to just understand the user interface. You can call it as a console or the designer of the Power Automate desktop. I thank you so much for watching the video.